Hello and welcome to an Everyday Canines video. This is the Garden Agility series. This is episode 3, and in this episode we're going to be looking at how to teach your dog to go around the back of a jump using obstacles in your garden. So in this episode of Garden Agility we have got our jump, which is 2 flower pots. We've got our little foam tube roll thing to act as our pole, and we're going to have a look at the move called round the back sides, back jumps. It's what it is when you're coming up to the jump from this way, but your dog has to go round the back. So we're going to show you what that looks like with Sparrow. Sparrow. Ready? Round, round, round. Nice, good girl. So with that cue, she knows she's got to drive to the back of the jump and jump over. Do this side. Come here. Round, round, round. Yeah, good girl. Nice. Shall we just look to see if you can remember things? Check, 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 check. So you can see she's understanding. There is a little bit of body motion to help the cueing, but mostly on the words, she's understanding round, 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 round. That cue means drive to the back, and the other cue means drive around to the sides. You don't tend to have bespoke directional cues for your rounds because you're going to usually go by your body motion. However, there's a caveat to that. So if I say to her, just get some more treats. Okay, if I say to her, around, round, it means go round and jump long. Around, round. Not the whole thing. Around, round. Yes, good girl. You can tell she hasn't worked on these jumps very often. Right. If I want her to do a very, very tight turn round this pole, so for instance, say I needed to go around the back but go over there, so I want her to go all the way around this, I have a bespoke cue. Not everybody does, but I have a bespoke cue, which is this. Rap, 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 rap. Good girl. So for me, that is rap, 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 rap. Good girl. But what we're going to look at today is teaching the fundamentals of around the back. And once you've got the fundamentals, then you can decide if you're going to have different cues for long or tight. Okay, so we're teaching to go around the back of a jump. Now you've hopefully been teaching your wing wraps. So it's going to be very tempting for your dog to do what you've already been teaching them to do, which is take the pole, then go around the wing. So we're going to go back to our target. Now, the thing to remember is, and this is a rough guide because it's not always true, excuse me, if your dog's on this leg and you're facing this way, you're asking them to do a wing wrap. If they're on this leg, so they're on the outside of you, you're likely to be asking them to do a backside. I say that's general rule because there could be times when I'm coming here, my dog is on this leg, I want them to go there, good girl, but actually I need them to go that way. But that is, when you're starting it, that's a good rule to have because it just helps the dog along. Okay, Swift. So what we're going to do, just like we did before, I'm going to set her up here. Oops, it helps if there's a, well, that was rubbish, wasn't it? So I'm going to set her up here. Get it. Good girl. Nice. Well done. Okay. I'll do that again. Ready? Get it. So it's just like we did before. Good girl. Can you sit? Good girl. And that we're just giving her a target. Okay. Break. Get it. Good girl. And we're doing it just like we did before with the wing wraps. We're going to keep moving it. And it'll reach a stage where she can't see it, so she has to do the maneuver to find the target. So that's when they're starting to go, oh, actually I have to go around the back. Okay, break, get it. Good girl. And again, like we said before, there'll come a point, so it is now here, the easiest way for her to get it is to come across. So I need to make sure that doesn't happen. by pointing my body. Good girl, get it. Good girl. So you can see she's already got experience of these types of moves, so for her it's quite easy. Good girl, come on, break. So again, like we did before, I'm going to start sending her around, break, and drop the treat in. Nice. Now when we were doing the wing wraps, Swift, leave the hoverfly alone. Leave the hoverfly alone. Swift, come here, sit. When we were doing the wing wraps, I took the target away first and then started throwing in a ball before adding the cue. That is something you can play with. I would prefer the target away, but you could technically do this with the target still there and drop the food on. Okay, ready? Around, round, round, round. And add the word in. Once they've got the habit of things, then it's easier to add the word onto them. So let's get a toy in. Okay, let's get a toy in. Now I mentioned in my other video that you may have to play around with varying your target to Swift, come here. Good girl. Sit. Wait. You may have to play around with varying your target to a treat ball, because it may be a case that you know your dog goes, oh, there's a target, but there isn't now and I can't do it. So something you're going to have to play with. That perhaps is the hardest transition that you're going to have to do, is getting rid of that target. It may be a case that you have the target down for a couple of times, then the next time they come through you throw the toy, and like that. Now, one thing to think about, when we were doing the wing wraps, good girl, they were taking the pole first, then coming around. When we're doing round the back, they've got to take the pole last. Now, that is actually adding a little bit to the behaviour chain. We've had the target going round to the pole. Now they're going to have to take the pole. Now, obviously, it isn't a pole, it's just a flat thing on the ground. So you might find yourself doing, they come to the target and then asking them to come forward over the pole to get the treat ball. So let's go. Break. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. The reason for not having the target this side is because then it gets very tempting. It's much harder. The dog is looking at it. You imagine if I've got the treat there. I mean, I can do this. That's if you've got your dogs doing a lot of stuff like this, you could do that. But you've got the target there, your dog is there. It's going to be really distracting for them to do their job. So we don't want them to be, we want this to be fun. We want this to be easy. We don't want frustration. We want this to really succeed. Ready? Around, round, round. So of course you keep playing with it. You've added in your cue. You're going to add in angles. So I've been doing it a lot like this because that makes it really clear for the dog, but you could do it like this. Round, 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 round. Good girl. And of course you're going to do it around that one as well. I've just done it for this one because this is the way we're facing the camp. Good girl. Once you get more room, start adding in bigger distance. So ideally I want to be stood back here. Swift, ready? Round, 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 round. Good girl. Now, what I would say with doing these different things, your wing wraps, your rounds, I would say split them into different sessions initially. I would do one session where I worked, even to the point where I just work my left rounds. You see, I had to think there, Teresa. Left rounds, another session where I just work my right rounds, another session where I work my right checks, another session where I work my loops. And then I do a session where I do my 2 different rounds in the same session. I do a session where I do my 2 check tight turn cues in a session. And then when you get to a stage where you can start to mix them up. But this does take time. And it is something that if they don't get it right the first time, that tells you they're not quite there yet. So we're going to try this now with Swift. Break. So check, 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 check. Yes, good girl. Thank you for watching this Everyday Canines video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it's given you some ideas what you can do in your garden. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page, and we're also on Instagram. If you've enjoyed this, I hope you'll come back and watch some of our other videos. Have lots of fun with your dog and remember to keep safe, play safe. Take care.